Hi, welcome back to Hill's Kitchen. I would say that as if somebody could not find this for the first time, but if you've never seen me, never watched, hi, my name is Autumn and this is my channel. And yes, today we're making ceviche. If that's wrong, I'm so sorry. Ceviche and self-control. Still doing the Fruit of the Spirit series. I know it doesn't look like it, but I am serious about it. This is more of the like westernized rendition of the Mexican version. So yes, it's very simple. You need white fish. Closest thing I could find at my grocery store was tilapia. We didn't have the fancy stuff. That's okay. We're okay. And yeah, just a lot of different fruits and vegetables. So like lime, cilantro, lemon, red onion, red tomatoes, and avocado. So yes, sticking with the fruit. I hope y'all getting what I'm putting down, that like this is like a theme where we use a different fruit for each one. Do the little juices, let the fish marinate in here, and then it sits in the fridge for like 30 minutes to an hour. They said 2 hours max, and then you just chop all the veggies and put them together. So here we go. This was one I was trying to save for the end because I was like, oh, that's gonna be so hard to talk about. I don't know if I'm qualified to talk about it, like trying to be like humble about it, but I was just like, I mean, it's gotta get done. And I'm not saying I'm an expert on anything on this show, okay? Like I'm just doing the Lord's work. To me, self-control is perpetual discipline of your mind, will, and emotions, aka your flesh. Now, a better woman would invest in a juicer, but I'm like, this is not my permanent residence, so I'm not gonna like do all that. We're in the early days of of Hill's Kitchen, so like that's for the future seasons with the high def camera and the ring light and the gorgeous kitchen with the Dutch oven. Like that's what that's for. Okay, the juicer will be in that setup, not this setup. Anyway. Now, we don't like the D word. Discipline is a cuss word. We don't like that word, but it's very that. I can't just do what I want. And it's not enough to like check myself every once in a while. Perpetual self-discipline will have you about your business all the time and have you, making decisions that you wouldn't make otherwise because you're committed to becoming your best self. Self-control, it's like, ooh, but when you sit with it, that's all it is. It's a mechanism that is gonna help you become your best self. And the girls don't like self-control because self-control requires you to say no to yourself and to like, forego the things that your mind, will, and emotions, aka flesh, would have you do. So right, your flesh wants you to always get laid. Your flesh wants you to always come out on top. Your flesh wants you to like do whatever it takes to be successful and get to the top as fast as possible. Your flesh don't want you to be unhappy or ever like have to turn something down. You should never have to struggle. Like your flesh don't ever want you to struggle. Like you should get it right here, right now. Shouldn't have to wait, shouldn't have to work for it, shouldn't have to like get it after everybody else. Like it should have already been here. Self-control is the opposite of that. You are bearing good fruit if you halfway have self-control. Peace is one thing. Gentleness is another. Self-control, now we cooking with gas. Cooking with Crisco, like my extended family would say. You don't just wake up an entrepreneur. You don't just wake up a wife and a mother or husband and father respectively. You don't just wake up like set free and healed from all generational trauma, baggage, and strongholds. Like it's like that takes discipline. So however that looks for you is, your journey, right? But I think that's the hard part about self-control is recognizing that it is a journey and that it's constant work. Now for the limes, you need a half cup. But anyway, self-control isn't, oh, I can do what I want and who gonna check me? It's, although I can do what I want, I'm going to willingly do the opposite because that's in my best interest, even though I don't necessarily want to or feel like it. So keep that in mind. This is one of the few times where a recipe did lie to me and they will pay for their sins because they made it seem like I only need 1 lemon. That's a lie. I could have used at least 2 more if I had known I wasn't gonna get enough juice, but whatever. You want to do what you want to do, but that's not how God works. That's the older I get, the more I get it. Like you cannot just do whatever you want to do and call yourself a Christian. See the way the line slipped? That was prophetic. This is the perfect recipe for self-control, because I feel like self-discipline and thus controlling oneself is like trying to juice these. Oh, this is dumb. Not me for y'all. It's a little late, okay? I don't have a full week. It's a lot like this because it hurts to be squeezed, to be pruned, to be going through stuff, and to not get what you want right off the bat, right? Who doesn't want to be wealthy? Who doesn't want to be booed up and happily married for like 50 years? Who doesn't want to be having the time of their life at the top of their career and they're living their wildest dreams? Like, why wouldn't you want that, right? Ain't nothing wrong with wanting that. However, what it takes to get there is going to look a lot different than like what you thought it would. Let's just be honest. What am I willing to go through? Because right, if I squeeze this one time, I'm not going to get enough juice to do what I need to do. But now if I'm willing to really go through something and say, okay, I will squeeze all of these 6-7 times, you know, I'll pull out the juicer, I'll squeeze however many it takes. That's the real issue with self-control. It's more work than people are willing to put in. So they think all these things that are byproducts of faithfulness to God are impossible. I've come to realize the fruit of the Spirit is how you serve God as well as become the best version of yourself. You should be peaceful and you should be gentle. But self-control will save your life like 10 times out of 10. Like, them other two are cute, but self-control, graduations, weddings, funerals, like, you need her every day of the week. Something's always going to offend you, something's always going to tempt you, and something's always going to entice you, and that can pull you out of alignment for who you're meant to be and where you're meant to go and how you're meant to get there. So something shifted in my life a few weeks ago, and all of a sudden, because the job I'm working is part-time, I am underemployed, as my mom likes to call it, as other individuals have called it. I don't really care. I'm just doing what God told me to do. Like, that's what it's called to me. Obedience. That's a whole separate Hill's Kitchen episode. But yeah, I'm like, it is what it is, right? All of a sudden, I get an email from a very reputable law firm, international law firm, that's both in the United Kingdom and the United States. And I had applied for them, I want to say maybe November, either November or December of 2022. So 6 months had passed, either 6 or 7 months. They reached out to me in May of a whole different calendar year, talking about, oh, hey, like, I basically like, hey, big head, are you up? And they're like, you know, we're just such a great company and we would love to have you. And we would love to have an interview with you, a phone interview with you. We're hiring in like different locations and, you know, thank you for expressing your interest and all sorts of stuff. And, you know, really trying to butter it up, right? Like it was this once in a lifetime opportunity. In the italics at the very bottom of the email, it said, however, if the following is true for you, please disregard this email. God made it clear to me in November, before 2022 was even over, that I was not supposed to get a full-time job while in the United States. That was hard, right? Because let's remind the girls, I do have a bachelor's, I do have a master's, and I am partially through law school. So I wasn't thrilled about about the methods that God was gonna use. I didn't actually find it sexy or on par with my gifting, with my skills, what He has me doing in this season. But that's neither here nor there. This is how He's doing it, whether I like it or not. So it's really not about me. So when they sent me that email, I was like, no one. Hold up. So let me get this straight. Wait, I'm the rookie? Oh, this is not from God. Even though it looks appealing, it looks like a good idea. First of all, what are y'all doing emailing me 6+ months after I applied for the job? What? Like, I'm like, y'all don't care if I'm under a bridge or not because you took 6 months to get back to me. Be so serious. Like, what? That's how I know you're unserious. What changed? Because you didn't care about me the past 6 months. If we had a whole different calendar year, but now you suddenly want me so badly. Okay. Second of all, it's the fact that the clause that they put in at the end disqualifies me. And had I gotten that email anytime before my breakthrough, then I wouldn't have been disqualified. I'm like, that's funny that now that my situation has started to move, now that things starting to shake, y'all so interested in me all of a sudden. And oh, but by the way, if this particular thing in your life is true, disregard this email. I'm like, Third of all, I'm like, no, I know what God said to me. I'm like, if He told me I'm not supposed to be working full time, like, you know, salaried or whatever, and he told me that back in November, and we argued and tussled about it, and I lost, why would that suddenly be different in May? If he hasn't moved in my situation the way he told me he would. That's not what he said. This isn't my miracle. So I was like, no dice, girls. And number 4, last but not least, I'm like, if you were really my friend, y'all would actually halfway know my situation and would then be inquiring. I'm like, no. Well, I'm flattered that you would invite me for an interview. I was just kind of like, okay, if every job took 6 months to get back to you, we'd all be living under a bridge. We'd all be on the street. Because it's like, you didn't care what was going on in my life for the past 6 months. If you just not going to say nothing to y'all. When I tell you, I had not heard from this job ever. There was no like, oh, we want to follow up with you, or oh, we're busy getting through applications. None of that. Then all of a sudden, once I am in a completely different thing, and right, mind you, haven't been applying for jobs for all these months because of what God said. I'm like, okay, if this is my portion, I'm not going to be out here shooting my shot with all these companies, because that's not what God wants me to do. So explain to me why, right, I'm being faithful, minding my business, and being rewarded for it. And now all of a sudden, here comes this very reputable law firm being like, oh, hey, love you, even though we don't know you, let's interview you. It's like, girl, what? And it's funny because I need the money. That's the really funny part. I do need the money. So, right, shouldn't I have said yes? Shouldn't I have been like, yeah, oh my God, this is amazing, God is so good, and just done it? But I knew in my spirit, no, because I shouldn't have to lie to get this job. And I'm not going to lie to keep it. And I'm not going to go out of God's will to please y'all and to please my flesh. If that's not my portion, why would I force it? Like, if I've made it this far being faithful, why would I stop? Like, I'm like, move. Had that come 6 months prior, or even 4 months, I probably would have said yes. But because I was faithful, by the time that email came, I was like, child, anyway. And I literally said nothing to them. That's offensive that you go ask somebody 6 months later, yeah, we want to interview you, as if they wouldn't go get a job somewhere else and move on with their life. Be serious. But also, I'm like, yeah, I'm not disobeying God for y'all. Very hot take. Like, y'all aren't worth it. You know when something a little fishy, because you're like, And that's the thing. I was realizing before I shot this video, I was like, somebody needs to hear this. When it's God, it's clear. And when it's the enemy, there's confusion. There's foolery. Because be so serious. The job that I have presently, they literally got back to me within like 2 days. I want to say it's a day. Like, I applied on a Sunday and they reached out to me on a Monday. And meanwhile, a job that was so great, so perfect, did not give me the time of day for over 6 months. And suddenly they have so much to say to me, and oh, we can't wait to interview you. Just let us know what works for you. It's kind of like, girl, what? Just so we're clear, that's not normal. That's self-control, because younger me would have been like, ooh, God, look away, because I'm going to tell him yes, like, not to hold you, but I'm gonna F it up. I'm gonna go ahead and shoot my shot. Whereas present me is like, y'all don't want me. Y'all don't want me because God didn't send you. Ooh, like, it's that. You don't really want me because God didn't send you. Y'all just trying to catch me off guard. Y'all just trying to catch me slipping. Today's not the day, and it's not the year either. I'm content with my little portion, with my little basic job, and I don't care, because that's between me and God. So very, very that. It's literally that verse in the Bible. It's 1 Corinthians 10:13, and it's basically saying, no temptation that we face is anything more than has been given to mankind, for God will not give us more than we can bear. And, the girls don't want to hear that, because they're like, oh, well, technically, Jesus didn't go through this, and technically, God didn't go through this. And I'm like, okay, right, but it's really just the principle of the thing. You have the option to be ensnared by the power, the wealth, the fame, the counterfeits, whatever, and, you choose not to because you're submitted to God. That was true in the Bible. I'm sure the disciples had plenty of things they could have been doing instead of following some guy all around Europe and the Mediterranean and Middle East, and he's proclaiming to be the Son of Man and performing miracles. I'm sure they had better things to do. Ain't everybody dealing with your exact circumstance per chance. However, the core of it is still true. Because what if by you showing restraint, not giving in to temptation, staying humble and staying faithful, actually opens doors for you that nothing else can? And you're not eligible for that unless you do it God's way. He's not going to ask you to do something that you literally cannot do. It's always going to be just enough. And it's going to be a something that's just enough that's still difficult, you know, but it's your challenge and it's your test to like prove your faith. And I think that's what's so beautiful. I thought it was going to go this way, but I got to the destination in a way that completely gagged me, completely bewildered me. And that's okay. That actually made me a better woman, a better believer, and a better person. I wound up having the recipe since I only used half the tilapia. So I only used 1 Roma tomato, a quarter of red onion. I'm gonna use a quarter of cilantro, and then like half of an avocado and half of a cucumber. Oh, and half a jalapeno pepper. Anyway, this is such an odd episode of Hill's Kitchen because of the technological issues. But anyway, I think that if you're serious about developing self-control, I think you're gonna have to recognize it's okay to tell yourself no, and no can come from a loving place. I don't know, I was so used to being told no as a teen and as a little kid that I didn't really have discipline because I felt like I of all people should tell myself yes. Instead of realizing, oh, because I love myself, I need to tell myself no sometimes to have a better yes and to become who I'm meant to be. You can't always eat out. You can't always do whatever you want. You can't always like say yes to everybody. And so those are things I had to learn the hard way. And those are just little examples of, okay, this is how I'm gonna start setting boundaries, and in turn that's going to help me have self-control. Sure, it's the obvious stuff like, oh, don't like break any laws, don't murder anybody, but I think it's also the simple stuff like, oh, what do you say, how do you move, how do you think, how you move with your money, how you move in relationships, how you move in friendship. And I think if we get into that, this would be like an hour-long video, but I'll just keep it short and sweet by saying 2 verses. 1, Proverbs 25:28. For a city whose walls are broken through is like a person with no self-control, which is crazy because it's basically saying like a city that's under siege and constantly vulnerable is what you're like when you don't have self-control. And it does make sense. Anybody can tempt you, anything can entice you, anything can ensnare you, and that's not actually a good thing. you ought to know who you are, and that solidifies you. And I think that leads to the next thing. If you're serious about self-control, you should know who you are. It's funny, I've been seeing a lot of messages in the past month talking about how we shouldn't have to beg for anything. And if you are a child of God, you really shouldn't be begging for nothing, because it's like you should already believe, oh, I'm taken care of, my needs will be met, like I'm prosperous, like the best things that are yet to come for me. Like if you already are in agreement with that, you're not gonna be out here being like, oh, I gotta. Like you're gonna chill. I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. Like I know who my savior is. I know who puts breath in my lungs. So I don't really need to be getting bent out of shape and ripping and running to force anything. Like I'm cool. Like that's all it is. He wants what's best for me. So I don't even need to be doing all that. Like I'm like, oh, God, you think I can do better? Okay, you know what? That's not my man. Like, oh, you think I could do better than that school? Okay, you know what? Then yeah, let them reject me. You know what I mean? Like, if you change your mindset, you realize self-control is just directing you to better. Like, it's not, oh, I can't have this, I can't have that, woe is me. Instead, it's, oh, baby, you're meant for the best. And the only way to get the best is to say no to everything else. Whatever you believe in God for, whatever area of your life, you need movement. Finances, school, career, love, health, generational purposes, whatever you need him to move in, you're going to have to step out on it. And that not only takes faith, but it also takes self-control, because, you know what I mean? It's very much that economics principle. There's no such thing as a free lunch. So it's like, by virtue of you saying yes to something, you're going to say no to everything else. You can't keep your options open with God. God don't do plan B, C, D, E, F, and G. There's only plan A. There's only plan A. And even if you make a mistake, plan A is still on the table. It's just gonna look different than you thought, and you didn't realize we still on plan A. But guess what? We are. Like, so again, everything that happened with law school with me, that's still plan A. Whatever happened with you and that relationship, that job, that family, that circumstance, we're still on plan A. It's not too late. Like, it is not a fumble. We just getting started. Okay, that was just one portion of the game. It was not everything. It was just one quarter, baby. We got plenty of game left. All right. The other verse I was gonna say was 1 Corinthians 6:12. Paul is basically like, for you say I can do anything, but not everything is beneficial. It's kind of absurd because it's basically saying, yo, just because you can doesn't mean you should. And if you about this life, you have to get on board with that pretty quickly. You can't just say whatever, do whatever, and think it's all good because, and that you still repping God, because it's not that. Like, you're gonna have to really get about it, and that needs to be evident through your actions. As you go on, you discover, hey, like, it's not gonna work the way it did when I didn't know nothing, you know? Like, before I could think like a child because I was a child, and now you're like, ooh, I'm an adult. Now that I'm wise, I gotta move like it. So that to me is self-control at its core, being like, hey, I don't care what my flesh want, what my will want, what my mind want, what my emotions want. I am about my business. I'm better than that. I deserve the forethought. Can we say that? That you deserve ordered steps. You deserve to live in abundance and prosperity, and that's not gonna come from just doing whatever. So she's looking better. She's looking better. She is opaque in my opinion. Bro, I'm so scared to eat this. If I consume raw fish and this is the end for me, it's been fantastic knowing all of you. Like, I'm just gonna pick out the pieces that look done. Ooh, I'm scared. I'm risking my life. But we gonna mix it in real quick. Oof. This is so long. I don't know how I'm gonna edit it. All right, this could be it. If y'all don't see me again, you know why. If I need to go to the emergency room, now we know why. But yeah. Oof, okay. Lord, please. Don't let me die in my Hill's Kitchen. Not today. And not ever. Amen. I'm not gonna lie, it is good. It is good. If I die, I died happy, healthy, and obedient. Very that. Thank you for watching. I hope this blessed you. Sorry I've been gone, but I'm getting it together. And please like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I want to say that's it. Period. You can do self-control. It's not as hard as the girls make it. It just takes accountability, perspective, and wisdom with a little bit of discernment. And definitely patience. But we're getting there because that's also a fruit of the spirit. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye.